Hi YouTube, it's me back finally after I'm not even sure how long it's been. I remember I told you I was pregnant when I was like 25 weeks or so. Um, but yeah, I had the baby in December. If you didn't know. Um, but yeah, anyway, this is his birth story, and I shall tell you his name and the meaning to his name as well. And then in another video I'll get him and show him to you. But for now, this is his birth story. So I had a pretty uneventful pregnancy up till about 30 weeks when they discovered he was laying transverse, which basically means baby was laying sidewards, so his head was here and his legs were here, like where my bump was, which meant that it was hard for them to scan him, and also they were worried that I would go into early labour if he continued to stay. Obviously, from 30 weeks there is a possibility he could have flipped. He could have flipped down like head first, or even legs first, which is breech. So yeah, so they kept a eye on me. I was under consultant care anyway because of my first pregnancy. As you will know, I had twins, and I had preeclampsia, mild preeclampsia, with my first till. So I was under consultant care anyway, so I felt pretty safe in the hands of them. And then I had, fast forward, I had a scan at 34 weeks, I think it was, and he still hadn't turned. He still hadn't moved. They were getting really concerned about it. And then they said that they'd scan me again at 36 weeks, I think it was. See if he'd flip, and he didn't. And then a week later I had another one, and she basically said to me if he hadn't moved, I'd have to be admitted to hospital because they were worried that I would go into not preterm labour, but early labour, or go into natural labour. And there's lots of complications when it comes to transverse babies, like the cord can come out first, and you can have cord prolapse and all different things. I don't really know. I did research a lot, but they didn't really tell me really. And they couldn't manually turn him because of where my C-section scar is. They were worried that it would rupture and it would damage the tissue, because obviously I was gonna have another C-section. Oh, I ended up having another C-section in the end, but I wanted to have a natural birth, and that's what when the midwives asked me how I wanted to have the baby, that was what I said, was I wanted a vaginal birth, and they said they were pretty confident I could have had a natural birth if I wanted to, but then it ended up that I didn't. So yeah, so when I was about 37, or was it 36 plus 5 or something? 36 plus 6. I think it might have been 36 plus 6. I had another scan at the end of November, it was. And she basically said to me, if he hadn't moved, then he was also measuring big at this point as well, and I had a glucose test and everything, and I wasn't, I didn't have diabetes or anything. He was just measuring big for some reason. And she basically said if he hadn't moved, that I would be admitted to hospital until I either went into labour or they scheduled my C-section, basically. So I ended up spending 2 long weeks in hospital, which isn't great because obviously Matty had just started a new job. My husband had just started a new job. He'd barely been there about 2 months by the time this happened. And obviously my mother-in-law is working full time, so she had to have time off. Unfortunately, it couldn't have been helped. It was for my safety, it was for the baby's safety, and it was what was best for the baby at the end of the day, and myself, obviously. But yeah, sorry, I'm just looking at my things. I got it all written down. So I went in 37 weeks. Then I had my scheduled C-section on the Friday, the 9th of December. He was born at 5:28 p.m. So the day of the C-section, Matty arrived at the hospital. Of course, I was told the night before that I would be taken down at 7:30, but that didn't happen. So Matty arrived at the hospital just after 9 a.m. I think I was still on the monitor when he arrived, because for some reason the baby wasn't cooperating. 11:37 a.m. they took us down to the labour and delivery, put us in a room. They were saying I was third on the list when I asked, because I was desperate to know. But obviously there's a possibility, when it comes to hospitals, there's a possibility of emergencies and stuff, like what I was when I had boys. So they warned me that there would be there is always a possibility of it being pushed back because of emergencies. Then at 1:30 we were told to go to the theatre. They made sure I had my compression socks on and my I got a sexy hospital gown. And they sat me on the table and they talked me through the process, which obviously I knew anyway from what I could remember. And they were just about to put a UV in when a midwife ran off. And sorry, I'm just looking for Matty because I think Matty's coming up, or one of the babies. Well, the midwives rushed out, saying that there were 3 emergencies coming. So we waited for what seemed like a lifetime, with me sat on the table in my sexy hospital gowns, because I had one this way and one the other way, because I had to cover up my bottom as I walked to and from the theatre. And then they did actually come back and say that there was 2 emergencies and they'd have to push my C-section back because it was a scheduled C-section. They had to push me back, which was fine. So we went back to the room. I fell asleep. Matty was still with me at this point. And then at 5:10, a midwife came in and explained. Oh, here we come. Got my children coming now.
This is it, folks. A defining moment in all of
Sorry about this. Have you quite finished?
No, not you guys. I dismissed all the group acts already.
No, why have you got that?
I'm really sorry.
I'll quickly do this now. Came in, told me they were ready for me. Scored us back to the theatre. Quickly got me ready. Had my spinal block, and it took a while for it to actually start. Obviously, they spray you with ice cold spray after you get it to make sure you can't feel anything, and that worked pretty quickly. Then the blue curtain went up, and it started. It took a little while for them to get Theo out. As you're saying hi. As he was laying sideways, so they literally had to pull his legs out. And yes. So it took a little while, and I lost quite a lot of blood. I lost 1.7 litres, where it's normal to lose about a litre. So yeah, I lost a little bit more than what I should have done. Do you want it or not? This video is all over the place. They pulled him out, he let out a cry, but it sounded like he had mucus in his throat. So they just said he had to have a little bit of oxygen just to clear his throat. He was really pale when they pulled him out. Then he started crying. May was called over to take a photo. I just kept saying to midwife, how much does he weigh? How much does he weigh? Can you weigh him for me? I want to know how much he weighs, because he obviously was measuring big. And sorry, I'm feeding my child. And everyone had said round about 8 pounds or so. But it turned out that he was weighing over 9 pounds. And I had no idea how big he was going to be, because they obviously, on my last scan, they never told me. No. And then I didn't have another scan until before he was born. So, yeah. But, yeah. And then we went into... I was sewn back up. I had skin to skin with him. And then they took him off and gave him to Matty. Stop it. And then... and then we were taken to recovery. And it was a long night, because he fell asleep. I put him in the bassinet. They asked me what I wanted for tea. By this time, it was probably about 11 o'clock by the time it was about 9:30 by the time they actually asked me if I wanted anything to eat. And obviously I was starving, because I had to fast the night before and take all my tablets and stuff. So it was really, I was ready for that meal. And the first meal I had was sausages and mash, and it was the nicest thing I've ever had, I think. But yeah, so I'm going to finish this video here, because my iPad's dying and my toddler is spitting at the screen. I'm sorry it's not that long, and I'm sorry it's not very interesting. I will introduce you to the baby as soon as I can. So his name's Theodore Andrew Ryan, and the reason we called him Theodore was, I just liked the name, to be honest. It wasn't anything special. And then Andrew is my dad's name, and then Ryan is Matthew, my husband's middle name. So I thought that was quite nice. Just to.
Honey,
Yeah.
what did you do with the TV remote?
I didn't do anything with it.
Well, Harvey gave it to you.
I put it on the sofa.
Alright.
And yeah. So I'm gonna go. This is nice. And I will speak to you soon. Bye.